Fabid Banks in a battle like we do it, right?
Right.
Who you got?
Space.
Fabid Banks. You know what I'm saying? In a battle like we do it. Hey, this is.
That's one of my favorite rappers of all time. So.
Bro.
In that.
I want to Fab got him. I'm telling you, bro.
Money in the bank. I'm saying what I want.
I talked to these two gentlemen.
The second Uncle Murda dropped his 2025 wrap-up. Listen to this. Everyone already knew somebody was about to feel it because he never uses a year-end recap to play it safe. This time, hold up. The bars aimed straight at Jim Jones and Mayo, and the reaction was instant shock mixed with that "did he really just say that?" energy. Wrap-ups are meant for accountability, and Murda treated it like a public scoreboard, firing off lines that challenged loyalty, credibility, and a few recent moves that had the streets buzzing all year. And here's the thing, the delivery wasn't emotional or reckless at all. It was cold, calculated, and confident, like someone who already knew every bar was gonna connect. When Uncle Murda does this, girl, it never sounds like random hate. It sounds like he's pulling out
I got a whole song about killing my baby mother.
What?
Yeah, about killing my son's mother. 100%.
All right, we're going
definitely.
way too far. What?
Yeah, long time ago. But what I'm saying is this.
It's a point you get into
Daddy
with that?
issues.
Yeah, definitely.
But
All right.
baby mama trauma.
just went viral.
Right. Baby mama trauma is
Baby mama trauma is a real thing.
This
Add that to the
mama
dictionary.
trauma.
This song is on Apple Music?
Yeah,
What's the title of that joint? You dropped that?
it's called Kill You. It's old. It's on my first
Let's
album.
play this on the exit of the show.
No,
Let's make sure.
no.
By Maino.
No, listen. My point is this, though. I never had a conversation with my son about it.
Has he heard the song?
Now, he had to have, but that's my point. I think, you see how you said when you have a conversation with Pootie? I think it may be even more dangerous.
What really made these shots sting even more was the timing. The wrap-up format gives Murda a unique kind of shield. He's not chasing clout or kicking off some random beef. He's documenting the year, and that framing changes everything. When your name shows up in a wrap-up, it feels official, like history just dialed your number. Fans immediately spun the track back, breaking down every bar line by line, because Murda doesn't talk in riddles when he wants a message to land. The lines aimed at Jim and Maino didn't come off playful at all. They felt deliberate, and deliberate bars always spark conversation. The streets felt the tension right away because there was already history floating around between these camps. Murda didn't create the friction, he turned the volume up on it. He took whispers and converted them into verses. That's dangerous territory, because once something gets said on a record that travels, you can't act like it never happened. The culture respects Murda for that exact reason. He doesn't sneak diss, he doesn't dodge names, he says it plain unless the chips fall where they may. That clarity is what made the reaction so loud. Another reason this hit so hard is that Uncle Murda has built a reputation for exposing uncomfortable truths in these wrap-ups. Every year, somebody feels seen. Every year, somebody gets mad. And every year, fans sit back waiting for responses. It's tradition at this point. So when Jim Jones and Maino heard their names tied to those bars, it wasn't shocking, it was heavy. Heavy because Murda doesn't fire blanks, he fires moments that stick to the timeline. And once a moment like that is out there, it lives forever. Once a moment sticks, it follows you into every interview and every comment section. By the end of the first listen, hold up, the message was obvious. This wasn't just entertainment, this was a statement, a reminder that wrap-ups still matter, still carry weight, and still have the power to shake rooms. Uncle Murda didn't ask for permission. He pressed play and let the year speak through him. As the lyrics spread, the conversation shifted from shock to analysis because people started asking why Jim Jones and Maino were the targets this time. Murda's bars weren't random at all. They lined up perfectly with ongoing debates about alliances, industry moves, and who's really standing on what they claim. That's why the shots felt personal without turning messy. Personal bars always hit harder when they mirror conversations the culture is already having. Murda just added rhythm to it and let it echo, and that echo was loud. Fans also noticed the tone wasn't disrespectful just for shock value. It was assertive. Assertive bars sound like conclusions, not questions. When an artist delivers lines like that, it tells listeners the decision is already made in his mind. There's no fishing for reactions, there's no testing the waters. It's a straight, this is what it is. That's why reactions online split fast. Some people defended Jim and Maino, others nodded along with Murda's perspective, but nobody ignored it. Ignoring a wrap-up shot is impossible. Silence starts looking like acceptance when a verse travels this far. Social media went in a full breakdown mode, pulling up old interviews, old clips, and old statements, trying to connect the dots. That's when things get uncomfortable. Once fans start playing detective, narratives get challenged. Murda knew that was coming. Wrap-ups aren't just music, they're triggers, memory triggers, triggers for debate, triggers for accountability. When he fired those lines, he already knew the internet would fit. What made it hit differently was how Murda framed the shots as commentary, not beef. He didn't threaten anybody, he didn't try to escalate anything. He observed, then he concluded. And listen, observation always feels smarter than aggression. It invites conversation instead of chaos. That's exactly why people took it seriously. You don't respond to observations the same way you respond to insults. Observations demand explanations, and explanations can get dangerous if the story isn't airtight. That pressure started building immediately. At that point, the question wasn't whether Uncle Murda crossed the line. The real question was who felt it the hardest. That's when anticipation kicked in. Would there be a response? Would it stay quiet? Or would it escalate? Wrap-up shots have a way of lingering until someone finally addresses them, and every day without a response makes the verse feel heavier. Murda knew that too. Timing isn't just about release dates, it's about letting silence do the work. As the days passed, the culture started treating this as more than lyrical smoke. It became a snapshot of how unresolved tension never really disappears in hip-hop. Uncle Murda didn't create conflict, he spotlighted it. That difference matters. Highlighting what's already there makes people uncomfortable because it removes plausible deniability. You can deny rumors, you can't deny bars everybody heard. Once something is said on wax, it becomes part of the record, and records follow careers longer than tweets ever could. People also respected how Murda stayed in his lane while still shaking the table. He didn't overreach. He didn't turn the rap into a rant. He stayed sharp, concise, and direct. That discipline made the shots feel intentional, not reckless. Intentional bars carry weight because they sound purposeful, not impulsive. That's why fans replayed them instead of brushing them off. Replay value equals impact. Another layer here is Murda's position in the culture. He's known for speaking from the streets, not the boardroom. When someone like that questions moves, it hits different. It feels like a temperature check from outside the bubble. People trust that voice because it doesn't come wrapped in PR language. It comes raw. When moves look strategic but feel disloyal to some, that's when real division starts. Murda's bars tap straight into that split without spelling out every detail. He let the listeners connect the dots themselves. And letting the audience fill in the blanks is powerful because it makes the message feel personal to everyone hearing it. That personalization sparked non-stop debate. Everybody had an opinion. Everybody felt pulled in. That's the moment a record becomes bigger than just music. By then, the wrap-up had done exactly what it was supposed to do. It closed the year by reopening conversations people thought were already buried. That's Murda's real gift. He doesn't let issues quietly roll into the next year unresolved. He drags them across the calendar line and forces them to breathe again. Some artists hate that. Fans love it. And honestly, the culture needs it. Without that pressure, too much gets swept under the rug. In the end, this whole situation proved once again why wrap-ups are one of the most dangerous formats in hip-hop. They mix memory, commentary, and fearlessness into one record. Uncle Murda didn't need aggressive disses to make his point. He let context do the heavy lifting, and context is ruthless. It connects dots people wish stayed separate. That's why the shots at Jim Jones and Mayo felt so heavy. They didn't stand alone. They sat on top of an entire year of conversations, moves, and opinions. That pile made the impact unavoidable. What happens next will matter even more than the verse itself. Responses shape narratives. Silence shapes them too. Every move from here adds another layer to the story Murda already wrote into the year-end record. That's the power of going first in a wrap-up. You frame the conversation before anyone else gets a word in, and once it's framed, it's hard to escape. Murda framed it clean and confidently. That confidence is why the record stuck. This moment also reminded the culture that hip-hop still has internal checks. Not everything needs interviews or social media rants. Sometimes a verse does the job. Sometimes a few bars say more than 1,000 tweets ever could. Murda understands that. He's mastered the art of saying just enough to spark debate without saying so much that it looks reckless. That balance is rare, and it's why his wrap-ups get taken seriously year after year. The lasting takeaway is simple. Words matter, timing matters, and memory matters most. Uncle Murda used all three to close out 2025 with pressure. Pressure that didn't explode, but simmered. And simmering pressure lasts longer than loud drama. It stays in conversations, it stays in people's minds, and it stays in the culture until something finally shifts. If this breakdown helped you understand why these bars hit so hard,